He predicted kings, wars, and disasters centuries before they happened. Some call him a prophet, others call him a mystery, a man whose words still baffle the world. Born in 1503 in the quiet streets of Provence, Nostradamus grew up studying medicine and the stars, seeking knowledge that few could understand. His name would echo through history, whispered in courts and studied in secret, as he wrote cryptic verses that many believe foretell the fate of nations. Tonight, we uncover the life, the visions, and the enigma of the man called Nostradamus. Nostradamus grew up in the quiet streets of Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, France. From a young age, he displayed an insatiable curiosity, studying medicine, astronomy, and the hidden arts. He traveled across France and Italy, learning from scholars and observing the stars. During these years, he witnessed the horrors of the plague, tending to the sick, and seeing death up close. These experiences shaped his mind and his vision of the future. Some say he began recording his early thoughts in cryptic writings, blending science, astrology, and intuition, the beginnings of the prophecies that would later make him famous across Europe. Even as a young man, strangers noticed something different in his eyes, a hint of knowledge beyond his years, a spark that hinted at the mysterious visions yet to come. As Nostradamus matured, he turned his focus to the future. He began writing his cryptic quatrains, short, mysterious verses filled with symbols, stars, and allegories. Each line seemed to hold a secret, a glimpse of events centuries ahead. Scholars believe he combined his deep knowledge of astrology, medicine, and human nature to craft these prophecies. He studied the movements of planets, the cycles of the sun and moon, and even the behavior of people around him, weaving it all into his verses. Many of his contemporaries were fascinated, while others were frightened by the uncanny accuracy of his words. With each quatrain, his reputation grew, spreading across Europe. Nobles and rulers consulted his writings, hoping to glimpse the future. Even ordinary people whispered about him in awe and fear. Yet, behind the quatrains, he remained a mysterious figure, a man devoted to understanding time, destiny, and the delicate balance between science and mysticism. People wondered endlessly, did he truly glimpse the fate of nations, or was his genius simply in the art of crafting riddles that history would later make real? Before Nostradamus became a prophet, he was something far more dangerous. A plague doctor who walked straight into towns everyone else was fleeing from. Armed with nothing but a leather cloak, a physician's satchel, and a stubborn belief that the disease could be defeated, he treated the dying across France and Italy. He didn't just mix herbs, he reinvented treatments, insisting on clean water, fresh air, and removing infected garments long before science understood why it worked. People watched in disbelief as Nostradamus moved from house to house, untouched by the plague that had killed entire families. To many, it felt supernatural, as if the man was protected by something unseen. His success earned him fame. But also whispers, some called him gifted, others called him cursed, and for the first time, the world began wondering if this mysterious doctor was more than he seemed. Even while Nostradamus worked as a physician, something strange followed him. Dreams that felt more like warnings than imagination. Night after night, he saw visions of burning cities, collapsing kingdoms, and dark skies filled with omens he could not explain. He tried to ignore them, but the dreams grew clearer to clear. Dates, symbols, eclipses, names he had never heard before. They all appeared in flashes he couldn't escape. During the day, he scribbled frantic notes between treating patients, terrified that these visions weren't just nightmares, but messages. Was it exhaustion, stress, or something far more mysterious? The people around him noticed. Some whispered he was touched by the divine. Others whispered he was cursed, and even Nostradamus himself began wondering, what if the dreams were trying to tell him something? After years of battling illness and nightmares, Nostradamus reached a breaking point. Healing the sick was noble, but it no longer felt like his purpose. The dreams, the symbols, the visions, they were growing too strong to ignore. He began studying ancient texts, astrology charts, forbidden manuscripts passed in whispers. Every night he searched for meaning, tracing the same symbols he saw in his sleep. And slowly, a terrifying realization formed. These weren't random dreams. They were patterns, cycles, warnings. The stars, the moon, the movements of the heavens, Everything aligned with the visions he had been hiding. Medicine could save lives, but only prophecy, he believed, could save the future. So Nostradamus abandoned the path he'd walked for decades and stepped into another, the path of a prophet. With his medical life behind him, Nostradamus began writing down the visions he once tried to ignore. At first, they were simple notes, scattered lines, vague warnings. But soon, the messages grew sharper and far more disturbing. He claimed to see kings falling, empires burning, and great armies moving like shadows across the earth. His quill raced across the pages faster than he could think, as if the words were being dictated to him by something unseen. People around him noticed the change. He no longer slept. He studied the stars at midnight and wrote until dawn. Some believed he had unlocked a hidden knowledge. Others believed he had crossed into something forbidden. Whispers began spreading through the towns. Nostradamus wasn't just studying prophecy, he was becoming prophecy. When plague returned to France, Nostradamus didn't run like everyone else, he walked toward the dying. Armed with nothing more than herbal knowledge, courage, and a strange instinct for sickness, he treated the infected when most doctors refused to go near them. He cleaned streets, burned contaminated clothes, and insisted on fresh air and hygiene, ideas far ahead of his time. To the people, this looked like sorcery. How could he walk into plague-ridden homes and survive? Rumors spread. Some claimed he carried a divine blessing. Others whispered he must have made a pact with something darker. But what truly made people fear him was this. He often predicted who would live and who would die. And he was right far too many times. Those dark years shaped him, sharpening his intuition, deepening his visions, and turning him from a wandering healer into a mysterious figure France couldn't ignore. As Nostradamus survived plague after plague, his fame grew. Nobles, rulers, and common folk alike began seeking him out, some for medical help, others for advice about the future. His prophecies, once private scribbles, were now in demand. People marveled at his uncanny ability to foresee events, and rumors spread that he could see what no one else could. Was he simply a genius? Or was there something more, supernatural at work? In villages and courts alike, whispers followed him. He was blessed, or cursed. And as his reputation rose, so did the expectation. The world wanted Nostradamus to reveal the secrets of tomorrow. Nostradamus' writings began to circulate quietly at first, copied by hand and shared among a select few, but whispers grew louder. Nobles brought them to courts, scholars debated them. Merchants carried them across cities. Everywhere his words traveled, they sparked awe and fear. Some claimed his quatrains predicted wars, plagues, and political upheavals. Others dismissed them as clever riddles. Yet no one could deny one thing. Nostradamus had captured the imagination of Europe. Even those who never met him felt the weight of his prophecies. And slowly, the man who had once walked among the sick became something far larger, a legend whose words would outlive him. As Nostradamus' prophecies spread, whispers grew louder across Europe. People began to speak of him in hushed tones, a man who could see events before they happened. Some sought his guidance eagerly, others feared what he might reveal. Rulers sent envoys to question him, scholars tried to interpret his words, and common folk debated their meaning in marketplaces and taverns. Each quatrain sparked awe, confusion, and sometimes terror. But Nostradamus did not write for fame or fear. He wrote because he could not stop himself. The visions compelled him, the words demanded to be set down, and Europe watched, uncertain whether to believe or to fear the man whose predictions might shape the centuries to come. As his fame grew, Nostradamus received a summons from the court of Catherine de' Medici, Queen of France. She had heard of his prophecies and wanted guidance on matters of state, matters of life and death. Nobles whispered that the queen sought insight into wars, alliances, and the survival of her family. Some feared his predictions might influence royal decisions, others saw an opportunity for power. Nostradamus, ever cautious, accepted. He arrived with his scrolls, astrological charts, and mysterious aura, aware that every word he spoke could change history or seal his own fate. In that room, the healer-turned-prophet faced the gaze of royalty for the first time. And Europe watched quietly, wondering. What truths would the man who saw the future reveal? As Nostradamus' prophecies spread, they found their way into the hands of scholars, nobles, and common folk alike. Copies were made, debated, and studied in candlelit rooms and crowded marketplaces. He began to realize the true magnitude of his work, a written legacy that could outlive him, shaping minds and history long after he was gone. Even those who had never met him felt the weight of his words. Some sought guidance, others feared what the future might reveal. And as his manuscripts traveled through Europe, the man who once walked quietly among the sick became something far larger. A legend whose words were impossible to ignore. As the years passed, Nostradamus aged, his body weary but his mind sharp. He continued writing, studying the stars, and recording visions that would shape centuries to come. His health may have declined, but the prophecies never stopped. Every night, he traced the heavens, setting down the patterns he saw, preparing the world for what was yet to come. Europe watched, some in awe, some in fear. The healer had become the prophet, the quiet scholar now a man whose words would echo far beyond his lifetime. And though his life approached its end, his visions promised immortality. When Nostradamus passed from this world, he left more than books and manuscripts behind. He left a legacy of prophecy, wonder, and mystery that would travel across centuries. His writings inspired kings and commoners alike, guiding some, terrifying others, but always capturing the imagination of those who read them. The man who once walked among the sick had become immortal, not in body, but in words. And the world would remember him forever, as Nostradamus, the seer whose visions continued to shape history and intrigue the imagination of all who dare to look into the future.